Lowell, first question here in the front row.
Lowell Cohn, Santa Rosa Press Democrat. LeBron, in reference to this whole thing with Draymond Green, the Warriors players seem concerned or upset about the fact that they said, stepped over him, or the other word was straddled him. Why did you do that?
Well, first of all, before we get started, I want to my condolences goes out to all the lost ones and families in a tragic shooting in Orlando. I think it's another hit for us as Americans and what we have to deal with in our world today, and it definitely puts things in perspective on basketball. For myself, it's just a small matter of what reality really is. So my prayers to all the lost ones and all the ones that's recovering from this morning's tragedy in Orlando. To get to your question, I don't really have an answer to it. I'm not quite sure what any of the Warriors guys said. I'm not a disrespectful guy. I don't disrespect anybody. It's all in competition. So I don't really have an answer to your question.
Well, let me follow up. Were you aware at the time that you stepped over him? Was it something you didn't know that you did, or did you do it intentionally?
Well, I was just trying to get back into the play. I think what had happened was intentional. I know we got into a grapple, at the top of the key, but me just trying to get back into the play. That's all. That was my whole mindset.
Next question, second row.
Gerard Graupera, RACU. LeBron, after 4 games, you are playing tomorrow an elimination game. How hard is for you to be in this situation?
It's not hard. I mean, you go out, you give everything that you have to your team and to your teammates, and you live with the results. I'll put a lot of hard work into my career and into this year. So, I know what I'm capable of doing. I know what our team is capable of doing, but it's not hard. You just go out and do your job.
Joe on the left.
Joe Varden, Cleveland.com. LeBron, when you're playing Draymond or anybody that was in Draymond's situation, how aware are you that he's one flagrant away from a suspension, and does it affect how you go into a matchup like that?
I think something like that you're unaware. I didn't even know at that point in time. What you are aware of what's going on in the game. You know if a guy has 1 foul, you know if a guy has 2 fouls, you know if a guy has 1 technical, you know if a guy is injured or whatever the case may be. Those things that's happening throughout the course of a game, you notice those things, but you're not. I've never been aware of if a guy gets 1 more flagrant, or if a guy gets I don't know, 1 more penalty point. I'm not quite sure of all that stuff. I'm not aware of that.
Al in the second row.
LeBron, Al Sarasovic, San Francisco Chronicle. The other night you said you didn't expect the NBA to assess a flagrant. I believe your answer is no, I don't expect them to do it. Were you surprised by today's decision to assess a flagrant, and do you think that resulting suspension is fair? Did you feel like it was a flagrant?
Well, I think the league, they handled it as they felt they wanted to handle it, and that's their call. It's been their call all year, and us as players, we got to play on no matter what happens. You can have your either go with what the league says or you don't, but at the end of the day, they make the final decisions.
You were pretty upset, obviously, on the court at that moment. Did you feel like it was a flagrant foul?
I felt like it was, at that point in time, it was a little bit outside of basketball.
Jason, second row.
Ron, Jason Lloyd, Akron Beacon Journal. You know the history. No team's ever come back from 3-1 in the finals. Does this give you guys a little bit of a lift or a little bit of a spark maybe that you needed?
At the end of the day, it doesn't. For our team, we know how dangerous they are no matter who's in the lineup. I mean, obviously, we saw what they was able to do without Steph for 2 weeks. Playing against Houston and playing against Portland. Those guys still complement each other no matter who's out on the floor. So we have to be obviously much better than we were in Game 4 in order to try to get a win on a building where they've been very successful.
Over here on the right.
LeBron, Seb Costello with Triple M. Just to pick up on your comments there at the end, obviously the first 2 finals went their way in Oracle. How do you nullify that away court issue?
Well, not many teams have been successful here, but at the end of the day, we just have to play better. I think our first 2 games we had way too many turnovers, was resulted in those guys getting out on the break. And I think we averaged 18 turnovers for 25 points in game 1 and game 2. No matter how well you play, that's just not good ingredients for a victory on anyone's floor, especially not in the defending champion's floor.
Over on the left side.
Bill Livingston, plain dealer. LeBron, when the Warriors were up here, there was some talk about what trash talk crosses the line and what doesn't. Klay Thompson said, I guess he just got his feelings hurt. You talked about being a prideful guy and that some comments Draymond made. Would you discuss that whole issue of what's fair and not fair on the court?
What happened? What Klay said?
Yeah, and what crosses the line?
No, I'm not. What did you say Klay said?
Klay said, I guess he just got his feelings hurt.
Oh, my goodness.
I believe the transcript will support that.
I'm not going to comment on what Klay said because I know where it can go from this sit-in. It's so hard to take the high road. I've been doing it for 13 years. It's so hard to continue to do it, and I'm going to do it again. At the end of the day, we got to go out. We got to show up and play better tomorrow night. And if we don't, then they're gonna be back-to-back champions, and and that's it. But I'm taking the high road again.
Jermaine, back right.
LeBron, Jermaine Franklin with TSN. LeBron, after last game, you said you were slightly perplexed about the lack of calls against your defenders when you're playing as aggressive as you are. Do you think that will change? Do you expect it to change as the series progresses?
I can't. I mean, that's something for me. You control what you can control, and that's something that myself and our team can't control. What we can't control is how aggressive we play on both ends of the floor. Our coaching staff will prepare us the best way to go out and win Game 5, and it's up to us to go out and execute it.
Over on the left side.
Terry Polito, plain dealer. LeBron, you've been involved in the last 2 playoff series where the team was a 3-1 advantage. You know, obviously with Miami, you got wiped out at San Antonio, and then when you were with Miami the year before, you took it to Oklahoma City. How do you avoid that, basically that not happening again when you're on the other end of it?
Well, you have to take one possession at a time. You can't start the first quarter thinking about the third quarter. You can't start the second quarter thinking about the fourth quarter. You got to. Every possession matters, and especially when you're in a do or die game, and which it is for us, obviously. So we got to just take every possession as this is last, and move on to the next one as they carry on throughout the game.
Especially on the road, it's tough because they can steamroll against you too.
Well, this team can steamroll against anybody on any court, so that's the actualization about it all.
David.